And there's nothing like looking at some head and shoulders chaos in the morning on Saturday to get your brain waves, juices flowing. This is the European ETF IEV, and the head and shoulders patterns go back to 2020 COVID crash era. There's a new head and shoulders pattern here, but we'll go and start from the beginning to stay brushed up on head and shoulders patterns. First off, I'm firmly in Bulkowski's camp on calling head and shoulders patterns where as long as there's 3 hits on a neckline and 2 on one side, at least 1 on the other, and I'll call that a head and shoulders pattern. And sometimes there's complex head and shoulders patterns, like over here there's 2 shoulders here, and you'll always use the closest one to the head for measurement as far as height. And you can see that this one, the height goes just about right through the middle when you connect the 2 here. Let's do that. So we'll just draw a line from this top of the left shoulder over to the top of the inner right shoulder, and you can see that's pretty much halfway up the head. So that's a valid measurement rule there. And usually you can eyeball these, you don't need to do this. So this head and shoulders topping pattern starting in 2020, quite the huge one here on a daily chart especially. It broke down below the neckline right here, and the measure rule is about 17%, and lo and behold, it just about made it to 17% before heading back up, and it promptly created another head and shoulders bottoming pattern in red here, and it broke above that, so that measure rule was 27.7% to the upside, and lo and behold, if we knew what we are going through now back then, you can see that it really has a chance to hit that 27.7% eventually. It just seems like it could happen one day, but back then this thing was just completely off the charts, this measure rule here. And off and on I've tried to force a head and shoulders pattern here, but just couldn't do it. So there's nothing here, even though it looks like you can get one going. But there is another one here in green. You can see that. So that measure rule was 5.9%, and when it broke down below the neckline there, lo and behold, just about 5.9%, a little further. And then this oval circle here is another head and shoulders topping pattern. It was so small that I put it in another chart. Let's go take a look at that. That's right here. You can go back to this era, probably right here, and I called that one, and many people gave me some likes on that one as they actually made some money on this one as a quick trade. Here's a complex head and shoulders pattern here, 2 left shoulders, and then this right shoulder, it broke down below the neckline 2.1% or so from the head to the bottom of the right shoulder, and lo and behold, 2.2%. So that was some nice quick money there. And I have not done the measure rule on this one yet, the most current one. Going back to about the beginning of the year, you can see the left shoulder is large, and there's 3 hits here, and it's about halfway between the left and right shoulder peak when you think about it, from right here at the top of the head down to here. Even though it does not hit the neckline, we do have 3 valid hits. And this neckline from the inverted head and shoulders pattern in red was extended, and you can see that some of head and shoulders patterns after that, we're actually following that neckline for support a little bit. It even hit just about right there, so and that could be a support area if this breaks down out of the head and shoulders pattern in pink here. We could use that as a target right there along with the measure rule. So we'll keep tabs on this head and shoulders chaos over there in Europe.